Welcome to the Unapologetic Man Podcast, the only podcast that's all about self-improvement, confidence, success, women, and being a man without making any apologies for it.
What is up, you absolute champions? I am so proud of you for clicking on this episode because you know what? The guys who aren't going to knuckle up, the guys who aren't going to face their fears, aren't going to click on this episode. So the fact that you clicked on this tells me that you're willing to face your fears, that you want to get to the next step. And I want to give you some motivation. I want to tell you some philosophies that have helped me to face my fears, to get to that next highest level of myself, because that's where the next highest level of you is. It's hiding behind your fears. So in this episode, gentlemen, we are going to talk about that. I'm super proud of you for clicking in, and I want to try to deliver to you the results that you came here for, which is to face your fucking fears, get those things you desire in life, approach women without any anxiety whatsoever. Wish that could happen. We'll talk about that in a minute, and get to that next best version of yourself, because that's exactly why we are here. Gentlemen, on Monday's podcast, I talked about how I'm doing an NLP masterclass on Friday, January 26th, Saturday, January 27th, and Sunday, January 28th. And guess how long it took for that shit to sell out? Literally 2 hours and 13 minutes from the moment the podcast dropped, which is like 4 a.m. in some states. So I was like, holy, they fucking went after this, dude. You guys were going after it like you just heard that Carrot Top was going to be at the MGM Grand, and homeboy had to schedule more and more events just to keep you guys appeased. So shit's been sold out. I got a lot of angry emails about it. It's like, bro, like I logged on at 6 a.m., heard the podcast, tried to buy, and the 3 sessions were sold out. What the literal fuck? So what I've done is I've added another session January 29th, and that's going to be at 5 p.m. It's open right now. And if you guys haven't heard that episode, what I'm doing is an NLP masterclass. What that is it's going to be you and me getting on a Zoom call together with a small group of men to go over my best, my most potent NLP protocols, to remove negative belief systems and replace them with positive ones, to go after traumas, to go after your masculinity, to go after your fears, and show you that fear is just false evidence appearing real, and get rid of those bullshit meta programs inside your head that have been holding you back with women for as long as you can remember. So this again is taking place on the weekend of the 27th. And I did open up a few spots, but dude, based on how quickly the past one sold out, I can only imagine it's going to happen again on this podcast drop. And I might have to be like Carrot Top, bro, like for the next 3 months, I'm just doing NLP masterclasses. But honestly, I think the most I'll do is probably this amount, because I want to be on my A game. I want to deliver the best results. So gentlemen, if you're interested to do NLP, you can come and experience that with me. Now, when I talked about this with some business coaches, talked about this with my mentor, thought about it, I thought $297 was a fair price for this 2-hour masterclass where I'm going to take you through some of my best NLP protocols to remove and replace those shit belief systems. I'm like, yeah, dude, $300, more than fair. But because I want to make this available to some of you guys who might not have a ton of money, you know, I know a lot of blue collar guys, like a lot of guys who work kind of shit jobs for the time being, listen to my podcast. I'm not selling it for $147, which will be half off. I'm selling it for $97. And honestly, if you're not willing to invest that in yourself, I don't know what to tell you, man. Honestly, I have spent, as I've said, over $100,000 on myself in coaching and self-development and trying to become that next best version of myself. I've been through all the seduction programs. I've taken every fucking class I could possibly find on NLP and things revolving around money, around belief systems, around psychology. And honestly, that's why I feel I'm successful today. So you're really not willing to invest $97 to experience what I continuously tell you is the most powerful technology I've ever come across for removing and replacing belief systems. And what is seduction all about? It's all about your behavior. What is your behavior dictated by? What's going on inside your fucking head? So if you don't fix what's going on inside here, women are not going to just magically start getting attracted to you because you learn a few lines on the Unapologetic Man podcast. You say to a girl, you know, if you were smart, you know you're dumb, and you're wondering why she doesn't jump in the air and slide onto your dick. It's because your behavior, bro. It's how you say it, not necessarily what you say. And that's all dictated by what's going on inside your head. I have an NLP masterclass where you can experience my NLP technology designed by me just for you in an anonymous format where nobody has to know who you are. They don't have to see your picture. They don't have to hear your voice. They don't have to know your name. It's all outlined on the sales page, which if you click the link in the description below, there's literally one link down there, bro. Click on that. Watch the video of me explaining the shit. Read the FAQ that answers all and any questions that I've been getting. Let's get you into the shit, bro. Let's meet each other. Let's get you to that next best version of yourself in this special 2-hour event. I had several guys ask me, they said, hey, I can't make the event, or the event I want to go to is sold out. Would the recording suffice? Yes, the recording will definitely suffice. And if you're not able to make the masterclass, you could still listen to the recording and do all the NLP sessions just as if you were there. So there's no excuse, bro. If you can make it, great. If you can't make it, that's fine too. I'm doing everything in my power to make this as easy and effective for you as possible, including selling it for the retarded, ridiculous, plain stupid price of $97. And I'll tell you, this shit's gonna sell out. How do I know this is true? Because it sold out in 2 hours and 13 minutes on Monday, you fucking idiot. So get in there as soon as you can. Click the link in the description below. You can literally do it as you're listening to this episode about fear, which stands for false evidence appearing real. FEAR, brother. Your fears are nothing more than a barometer pointing you to where you need to go, pointing you to where success is. The obstacle is the way. A lot of us are stifled by fear, including all those dudes who didn't click on this because they saw that all scary word FEAR, that is nothing but a goddamn illusion. It's an illusion because as you, yes, you listening, have found out, every time you've faced your fears, every time you have walked into that storm that used to chase you and scare you and make you dribble down your leg like a little bitch, you realize that it was just false evidence appearing real and it had nothing on you. Here's what I believe, and this is what I've seen time and time again, not only in my own life, but as well as the lives of my clients. Nothing that life hands you, you do not have the wherewithal to conquer. I believe, and you can agree with me or not, I don't really give a shit. I believe that you only attract yourself and or you are only faced with problems that you have the wherewithal to get past. Why? It's the whole purpose of life, bro, Tendo. The whole purpose of life is to grow. How do we grow? Through facing fear, through going into our pain willingly, by having discipline and strength to face that shit that we don't want to do and doing it anyway, and then you get to the next biggest step. A lot of you guys won't sign up for this NLP masterclass because honestly, fear. Or you don't trust me, one of the two. And the second one, I don't know what to tell you about that. It is what it is. But a lot of guys will let procrastination, fear, oh, that won't work for me. I don't understand it. I fear it because I don't understand it. And there's a huge quote right there. We fear what we don't understand. But why don't you face your fears and try something? Try to get to that next level. Experiment. Throw yourself out there. Go into the unknown and say, you know what? I'm going to man the fuck up. I'm going to do what it takes. And this might just work for me. It was the same thing with me when I was in Japan having my panic attacks and agoraphobia. I would have tried anything, bro. As I said in a previous podcast, I'd stick a goddamn dildo in my butthole, even though that's the furthest thing I'd ever want to do, if it promised me that it would have cured my fear. But instead what I did, thank God, didn't have to do that. Instead what I did is I found an NLP coach who helped me get over my anxiety and agoraphobia, panic attacks, and I'm gonna use some of the protocols on you guys when we do our masterclass, as well as a myriad of others, some of my favorite ones. I am literally shocked that some of you guys aren't gonna sign up for this. But again, man, you're gonna do what you wanna do. I can't help you with that if you decide not to do it. But what you can do today is face your fucking fears. Those things that are haunting you, that you've been putting off, that you've been procrastinating on for as long as you can remember, such as getting the skill set to approach a woman, such as even just doing it once, seeing a hot girl and just being like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna do what MarkSing suggests. I'm just gonna roll up on her. What's the worst that can happen? She says no, who fucking cares? This is what I tell my clients all the time. Don't base your feelings on the success that you get with women. Instead, base your feelings on the fact that you did it, because that is in your control. For all I care, you could go up to her and be like, anyway, see you later, and be a complete schmuck. I don't give a shit. Whatever it takes to get yourself to walk towards that girl and just talk to her, you're going to be so proud of yourself, even if she does blow you out. A story I love comes from the Navy SEALs. This guy was his honor man in his BUDS class. BUDS is basic underwater demolition. It's that gnarly Hell Week thing that you always see when it comes to Navy SEALs, like guys doing push-ups on the beach, getting freezing cold, getting water tortured, ran for miles on end, no sleep whatsoever, and just getting their asses generally handed to them until they fucking quit, which means ringing a bell. You'll start with like 100 guys and get like 8 that graduated. So sick, dude. I have so much respect for this. So there was a guy who was the honor man in his BUDS class, and the admiral asked him to give a speech. And he was sitting there thinking, man, I'm not really the talkative type, you know? I just put my nose to the grindstone, get the job done. I don't really want to give a speech. But the admiral convinced him, so he sat down, and he's like, man, I got to write a speech. What am I going to say to these guys? He's like, look, what would I just say to somebody in the middle of an evolution, right? We're carrying the boats on our heads and we're all fucking exhausted. Our necks are killing us. We got rashes all over us. We're bleeding. We're starving. We're freezing cold. What would I turn to the guy and say to him if it was just a simple statement? So he's like, okay, dude, I know what I'm going to say. He gets on the podium the next day and he's going to give the speech. And he's like, gentlemen, I only have 4 words to say to you. Don't be a pussy. And then he gets off the stage. And I want to relate that to you guys. It's very simple, man. Don't be a fucking pussy. And when you tell yourself that, at least when I tell myself that, it gives me a shit ton of motivation because we realize that oftentimes we're being a fucking pussy. We're going back to that infant stage where we're crying for mommy and we can't do it. You can do it, brother, if you just fucking act. And that's why I love the Nike slogan, as cliche as it is, just do it, man. Just do it. Don't think about it. When you go to a bridge to jump off of it, what do? Do you sit at the edge of the bridge and look over and contemplate how many seconds it's going to take before you hit the water? No, you just walk up to that shit and jump. And when it comes to seeing a hot girl, you just approach. Even if you have nothing to say, start walking towards her. While your head might not be in the game, you could just simply order your legs, start walking. And this is an experiment I'll run oftentimes, both with myself and my clients, is I don't want you to know what you're going to say. I just want you to walk over there. And here's the thing, gentlemen, when you face your fear, when you just start walking, the universe has this weird way of rewarding you. And you are going to know the right thing to say at the exact last minute. You will walk up to her and say, hey, real quick. And then it's just going to come out of your mouth. Just like these podcasts I do. I sit down, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I don't think about it. I don't prepare it. I just go. And I trust that universal intelligence to deliver to me the right words at the right time, even though, yes, there's a lot to fear when doing this. Do you guys understand how much hatred I get on Instagram and YouTube Shorts particularly? Do you know that I've had death threats against me simply because I'm a dating coach who tries to help men? Do you know how scary it is sometimes to put myself out there with advice such as, do you like to travel? And she says, yes. And you push her, travel over there. I get so much fucking hatred from that. But you know what? What's the fear? It's just a bunch of insecure guys who hate themselves, who want to attack me because they want me to be at their level, which is low. I'll tell you what, anybody who insults you, attacks you, belittles you, they're at an extremely low level of consciousness. So if you approach a girl and she rejects you and she's super mean to you, just walk away being like, dude, that chick is a really low vibrating individual. What do I care what she thinks anyway? And as you walk away, you smack yourself on the back and you say, dude, you're a champion, bro. You faced your fear. Here's something that I want you to consider. Fear is the barometer for your life. It is literally like a compass with north not being N, but being F for fear. If you go into your fears consistently, if you tackle them with the heart that I know you have beating in your chest, brother, you will find success that you can't even fathom. You will make all the money you want to make. You will get all the girls you want to get. You will get all the success. And interestingly enough, you will have a life that no longer intimidates you because you know that you have the wherewithal to tackle it. Me having my panic attacks, my agoraphobia, my shitty ass experience when I was in Japan of just massive anxiety was the best thing that ever happened to me. Why? Because if I overcame that, I can overcome anything, man. I can overcome the haters on Instagram telling me they want to kill me. I can overcome any girl rejecting me in a nightclub. Bruh, like she's even brave enough to do what I just fucking did. Like she's brave enough to listen to a podcast like this one, admit that she has faults and try to better herself. She can't compare to what you boys are doing right now, trying to get to that next level. You know what a lot of these hot chicks are doing? They're fucking thumbing through Instagram and or posting pictures of themselves with their booty that looks like a fucking ravine on Mars and getting self-validation from all the dudes that like it. What the fuck is that, man? We get self-validation from discipline. We get self-validation by entering our fears, by following what is scariest to us and knowing that, yes, the obstacle is the way. That thing that you're scared to tackle, that's the direction you need to handle, whatever it is. So this episode is to inspire you, particularly to approach women, because I guarantee you, you are going to feel a million times more proud of yourself. Your confidence is going to skyrocket just by going up. And yes, you can be a blumbering jackass. I say again, from that genius Navy SEAL in his speech, don't be a pussy. Face your fears, move into them with a strong, bold heart because, brother, I promise you, you have the wherewithal to get past it. And when you do get past it, your confidence goes up that much more. You develop to that next phase. You get that tonality. You get that bearing about you. And it can't be faked, bro. It can't be faked. It can't be achieved just by listening to podcasts. I have guys write me sometimes. They're like, you give so much value in your podcast. Why would I even bother coming into your program? I'm like, dude, listening to a podcast is armchair studying. It doesn't do shit for you unless you act. My program is a transformation. It's not information. This podcast is information. This is simply a top of funnel to get you guys to know that what I teach is fucking real and get you in the funnel, including the NLP masterclass. Again, a lot of guys are gonna be like, nah, I don't need that. The podcast is enough, or I don't believe him, or whatever it is, and not do it. And wonder what could it be like if I got to that next step where I just faced my fear or went into something unfamiliar. Trusted somebody for once, a guy like MarkSing who, brothers, I have your fucking best interest in mind. I don't know what to tell you. I have 250 fucking reviews on my website. Come into this program, face your fears, go approach that girl, get to that next phase in 2024 because fear is just false evidence appearing real and it's necessary. It's part of the design to take us to that next best version of yourself, which I believe, and you can agree with me or not, is the purpose of life. To grow. What is everybody doing? They're all growing. We're all evolving. Society's evolving. Technology's evolving. Everything is evolving. So wouldn't you agree that our point is to evolve? Yeah, I think many of you guys would agree. Then wouldn't you agree that when we overcome challenges, we grow the most? Yeah, you'd probably agree with that. Wouldn't you agree that fear is usually the biggest obstacle when it comes to challenges? Yeah, that's true too. So there's the point of life, to face your fears and overcome it. And you are not given a challenge unless you have the spirit, strength, and heart to get past it. So go into those fears and experience the overwhelming joy of overcoming them, the overwhelming joy of becoming that next best version of yourself. Ed Milet, a guy I love to follow, says this awesome thing, and whether or not I agree with it doesn't matter, but I want you to take this under consideration. He believes when he dies, he's gonna meet the absolute best version of himself, and he wants to be that exact same twin duplicate as the dude who's the best version of himself. The dude who faced his fears, who worked hard and had discipline, who became that next level guy, the best version of himself in the 88 or 90 or 75 short years that we get to be here. Life is short, gentlemen. I don't know about you, but my biggest fear is this. I don't want to get to the end of my life and have regrets. And that's the one fear that's at the head of the spear of all my other fears, which motivates me to conquer all those fears. Because when I get to the end of my life, when I kick off my wave, as a lot of my friends like to say, I want to be proud of myself. I want to know that I approached that girl. I want to know that I went after that dream. I want to know that I faced my fucking fears like a Spartan with a full heart. And even if I failed, at least I tried. And that's good enough for me. So today, brothers, I want each of you to do something that scares the shit out of you. That's right, man. Particularly if it comes to approaching a really hot girl. And here's the way I want you to think of it. I want you to know that there's other brothers listening right now who are doing the same thing. And this is what I tell to my boys in the coaching program. I say, see all these guys in this call right now? See all your brothers who are in your group fighting shoulder to shoulder with you in the trenches? Those boys are walking up to a girl at the exact same time that you are. They're scared just as you are, but their feet are moving. They don't know what to say, but they keep fucking going. They don't know what's going to happen, but they do it anyway. And we're all walking up to different women together. I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. All of us in the unapologetic army today or tomorrow or the next day, the next 3 days, the hottest girl you see, brother, just go. If you don't go, it's always a no. So just do it. And remember, reward yourself for the effort, not the result. The fact that you, like me, went up to that fucking smoke show, that platinum blonde with fake tits and a perfect ass, man, that's a huge pat on the back. You walk away being like, yeah, bro, even though I got rejected, who cares? I had the balls to approach her. And she can't affect that confidence that I get from having the balls to do that, even if she says I'm not interested. So gentlemen, fear is just false evidence appearing real. Don't buy into it. It is the barometer for the next best version of yourself. So follow it like a compass leading you to greatness. Gentlemen, once again, this NLP Masterclass, bro, Tendo, it's going to sell out, man. Click the link in the description below. Now that we're at the end of the podcast, you can listen to the video that I have on that page. I think it's like 2 minutes long. It explains exactly what this masterclass is. To reiterate, the masterclass is taking place on the 26th, 27th, 28th, and now 29th. And I can't guarantee you that any of these spots are going to be open for much longer. So pull the fucking trigger. Come meet with me, brother. Let's do this shit and get to the next best version of ourselves. Gentlemen, I do appreciate you listening. I drop podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays, so please stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you in the next episode.